would you do if you didn't have a choice? The topic of abortion is one that many people have very different viewpoints about. But I'm here to show you why and help persuade you to thinking that it really should be no law against it. Let me tell you a little bit about it first. An abortion can take place up to 24 weeks after conception. Now, most people, that's a long time, but 88% of the cases get aborted within the first 12 weeks. Now, every couple years, it comes across in political debates, and, the Republicans feel there should be a law preventing it, where the Democrats support it the way it is and have no law. But I'm here to tell you that there should be no law, and it should be a person's choice. In 2011, there was 1.06 million abortions that took place. Now, if there was a law preventing you from getting an abortion, that would be 1.6 million more children brought into this world. Now, who's going to pay for them? What if the parents put them up for adoption? We'll say half the parents put them up for adoption. That's 500 some thousand kids put up in foster care that the government has to pay for, that the government has to supply money to the foster care families for these kids. Half of the pregnancies are unintended, and about 4 in 10 of those are terminated by abortion. Now that's 4 kids out of every 10 pregnancies. Now you take that number and multiply it by 10, that's 400, or 40 in every 100. That's 400 in every 1,000. And the need for abortion is key, because if these kids are brought into this world, people are going to have to pay for them. More like you and me, with our tax money going to the government, is going to have to subsidize these families taking these kids in. Right now, the state pays for foster care. And looking up some rough numbers, it's about $600 some a kid. Now, that's a lot of money. Now, multiply that by all the kids that were terminated due to abortion, and you're looking at upwards of probably over $1 million more a year going into foster care. One of my main keys, though, to persuade you to thinking otherwise about abortion and why it's needed is what happens to these kids. That's what it's really all about. 3 out of every 4 abortions are due because the children are unwanted by the parents. Now, if 3 out of every 4 children are unwanted by the parents, but those parents are forced to bring the kids into the world, what happens? They get neglected, end up in foster care. I mean, that's not right. It's not the kid's choice to be brought into this world, so they shouldn't have to suffer for a choice that was made by their parents. Most of the kids will get put in foster care, overcrowded, waiting to be adopted by a family. And again, that's unfair to the child, because their parents didn't want them, so they should have been able to have an abortion from the beginning. A lot of cases too for abortion is because 3 out of 4 parents feel they aren't going to be able to provide for their kids. And if they didn't have a choice, again, they were forced to bring these kids into the world, the kids may grow up in low-income households, be not given the same love and care where if they were brought up by another family, but they were forced to be because of possibly a law that prevents abortion. And one of the big cases is women who get raped. I don't know if the law would change this, but currently women who get raped are able to have an abortion after 24 weeks. Now suppose the law changed that to where they weren't. Now these kids are being brought up by women who have been raped by a guy, and they don't know who the father is. They don't want to know the father, and they're brought into a situation that they shouldn't be involved in the first place. Abortion is key to helping prevent children from being raised in unwanted environments, unloving households, and preventing them from being placed in overcrowded childcare. And you know, they should be loved and provided for by their parents. A lot of you may look at me and say, well, why does a guy care about abortion? Well, because there are couples that decide to have an abortion because they're not ready to have a kid yet. And that should be their choice. But they should be allowed to do that. Abortion isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's a good thing for preventing kids from growing up in unwanted environments. And I hope that listening to this information and taking in some new insight into the topic of abortion, that you were able to maybe change your mind on how you feel about it, and not look at it as, you know, you're killing a person. Because in the end, sometimes having the baby is doing more harm than terminating the pregnancy. Thank you.